to talk some sports with our guy, Pep. Pep, what's going down?
Yo, we're talking about the NFL Combine on this Monday morning, Patrick. You know, it was kind of uneventful. I don't know if the NFL Combine is kind of losing some of its prestige because a lot of these marquee, top draft picks are not doing all of the, the athletic performance and the testing and whatnot. For example, our guy Caleb Williams from USC projected to be the number one pick. He did not even throw at the combine. And our guy real close to home, Jayden Daniels, the pride of Cajon High School in San Bernardino, did not throw. No athletic testing, didn't even take measurements. He's going to save all that for LSU Pro Day in a couple weeks at the end of the month. But I don't know, man. A lot of these big guys go there and they address the media, but they don't really do anything because maybe they feel like it's going to hurt their stock in the end.
Yeah, they're like basically just like, right away they hammered Caleb with the questions, and he was like, I don't feel like I have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They get there and they feel like, listen, there's plenty of tape, as they say. There's plenty of video. There's plenty of tape out there on me. You don't have to see me run around in spandex and, measure how, big my hands are. Like, hey, if I win, I win. If I can play, I can flat out play. So a lot of these guys are bypassing a lot of the things that take place at the combine. They just don't want to do it.
And especially, obviously we're pretty much talking about quarterbacks. It seems like if they're in the top 10, it's kind of becoming a thing where they're like, nope, we don't have to. We're already going.
Yeah, they already know. They feel like it's probably like a lose-lose. Like there's no real advantage for them to go to the combine unless they're a guy that's maybe trying to crack into the first round or, maybe stay in the first round. But if you're one of the very top picks, like Caleb Williams from USC, like Jayden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from LSU, I guess they just don't see any real value in it. But then you have the pro day, and Jayden's going to throw at pro day. I don't know if they'll do the measurements and the testing and all that like they would at the combine at his pro day, but at least that's more of a controlled environment with his LSU people. So they're going to put him in a position to look his absolute very best, of course, right?
And I think, too, it's become a thing where when it's all said and done, and it's fun to dig into the numbers, for the NFL to do their combine thing, it kind of comes down to what's the best 40 time, and then maybe the bench press, and then everything else you don't really remember unless something weird happens.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think we had a guy, Xavier Worthy, a receiver from the University of Texas, ran the fastest 40 time ever clocked at the combine. So you got to think, at least in his case, his stock value, his draft value went through the roof because he's the fastest guy ever to come through the combine. So it can help you, but you're right. For those marquee quarterbacks that'll go like in the top 10, they really just slam on that brake pedal and say, like, hold on, we're not doing any of this stuff. It's not going to help us in the end.
Xavier Worthy, he is that new 5'10" speedster, a 4.21 Pep.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like a slot receiver, maybe in the mold of like Tyreek Hill. Like they don't have to be the biggest guy. Like I'm thinking of like Terrell Owens, Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson, those guys that used to play on the outside, and they'd be like 6'3", 6'4". You put the ball up and it was game over. But now you got these, these real fast, like compact guys like Tyreek Hill. Maybe that's a new era of football we're seeing right now.
Get him in space and use that speed.
Yes, yeah, you're exactly right, Patrick. Now, one of the quarterbacks that did throw and actually had his stock go up, and this is directly related to the Chargers as I bring this back to a mock draft, is J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, the national champion, actually threw. And they, from what I could gather, it's like he didn't really, do anything incredible, but he kind of did everything he did like at Michigan. Very consistent, made all the throws, did not screw up. And his draft, they're saying he could be a top 5 pick now. And I bring that up because now if you look at a lot of these mock drafts coming out of the combine, the first 4 picks would be quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jayden Daniels, of course, and now maybe J.J. McCarthy. Well, the Chargers sit at number 5. Could they get Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State? The top receiving prospect we've had in years in the NFL draft. Dude, that'd be a huge get for the Chargers if the top 4 are really quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think that Justin Herbert has helped us a little bit because we didn't see him throw a ton at Oregon, and now they realize, wait a minute, this guy can throw. Kind of the same thing at Michigan. They kind of did the old school, ram the ball down people's throat, and then J.J. McCarthy throws well. So I think they're kind of thinking the same thing, like, wait a minute, maybe this kid can do some throwing. You're right about this draft. It seems very rich in wide receivers, in tackles, and quarterbacks.
Yeah, it could be a really good draft. There's some teams with a lot of picks that could do a real revamp, just overhaul that complete roster. So there's a lot of good players out there. If the top 3 or 4 are quarterbacks, the Chargers might be sitting pretty at number 5 with what might be available, including a receiver. So we'll see. I did want to talk about some real quick other big news in the NFL that hits close to home for us. Tyron Smith, who's one of the greatest left tackles in NFL history, it looks like he is not returning to the Dallas Cowboys. He's the pride of the Rancho Verde High School in Moreno Valley. So it looks like Tyron might end up on another team. And Patrick, as a left tackle who might be still the best in the game, he's going to find a home, and he still has some good years in front of him.
No doubt. I mean, I think Trent Williams has kind of shown that. I mean, he's old and he's played forever. These offensive linemen can go for a minute. He definitely is going to be a hot item on top of all this draft stuff. Kind of cool to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I think of remember Andrew Whitworth of the Rams. I think he was 40 years old when he finally hung it up. I mean, he played, and he was still one of the best in the game when he walked away from it. So if you're an offensive lineman and you can stay healthy, that's probably the key part in all of this. If you can stay healthy, you can have some real longevity in your NFL career.
No doubt. Trent Williams, Jason Peters. I mean,
yes.
Just wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep an eye on Tyron Smith, our guy here from the IE. And finally, some basketball news. We're talking some huge numbers here in terms of scoring. We'll start with LeBron James of the Lakers. He's approaching 40 years old, and now he has more than 40,000 career points. He did it this weekend against the Denver Nuggets, and in typical, I guess, LeBron fashion, he had a great game and the Lakers lost, but he still had that huge milestone.
He's still getting those milestones. I mean, Pep and I are old enough to remember when Kareem finally was done. I mean, we really thought, man, that's going to be tough to catch because Kareem played for so long. Along comes LeBron James, the first player ever to get 40,000 points. And just think, he's not like a Steph Curry who's, just shooting threes. These are hard-earned points. So 40,000, wow.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to, yes, he is one of the greatest players of all time, but he's been relatively healthy for his entire career. So, I mean, that plays a part in it, too. I mean, he knows how to take care of his body. I mean, people say we haven't seen this before. The only thing comparable is probably Tom Brady in the NFL, who played to 45 years old. So I don't know how much longer LeBron is going to continue, but he's still playing at a high level, and that number is only going to continue to rise. He's at 40,000 plus now and counting. So again, we thought Kareem, no one would ever touch that number. I feel like no one's going to touch this LeBron number, but you never know, I suppose.
You never know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and finally to the world of college basketball in terms of scoring again. This is another record that we thought may never be broken, but Pistol Pete Maravich had the all-time scoring record for men's or women's college basketball at the Division I level. But on this Monday morning, he no longer has the record because college basketball sensation Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa has essentially beaten all the records. The women, the men, it doesn't matter. She now is the all-time scoring leader in Division I college basketball history.
It is pretty wild because she does have another year of eligibility, but it won't happen because, like you said, she's going to the WNBA. But anytime you pass Pistol Pete, I mean, Pistol Pete is almost a mythical figure. And to pass him is absolutely incredible. It's amazing that she became the all-time women's leading scorer, but that's old news.
Yeah.
Now she's the all-time college scoring thing. I think it's badass. She's selling out arenas, man. She's like the Steph Curry of college basketball.
Yeah, she's great for college women's basketball. I mean, everywhere she goes, she gets the Beatles treatment, right? I mean, she's a rock star, and she sells out arenas. And this is, I think, great just for the sport of women's basketball to bring some excitement to it. And there was some speculation that I guess she could potentially return to Iowa for one more season and earn possibly more money at Iowa than the WNBA. I guess some people have refuted that, but can you imagine her going back for another season of college basketball? And I guess what they love about her too, the Hawkeye fans, is that she's from Iowa. She stayed home. She didn't go to Stanford or UConn or LSU or South Carolina, some of these other big-time women's college basketball programs. No, she stayed in town with her hometown Hawkeyes and was able to do this. So great for the that program, and great for her. She now is the all-time greatest. We've seen some great women's college basketball players, but none better than Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, man, pretty awesome, dude. Just like our guy Pep, bringing it to us. Many records will be broken. Pep, tell them how to get your stuff.
Hey, listen, you can always get my stuff at Inland Sports all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We got the Inland Sports YouTube channel. If you're down with the IE, you like Jayden Daniels, we got great content on Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep. There it is, my man.